Hello all, hope you're doing well today. Today we are talking about managing your human capital. This is chapter 5, part 1. Here we go. So after completing this chapter, you should be able to identify and discuss the key elements and main tasks associated with human resource management, as well as explain the relationship of key HR elements to people and your facility. And you also want to consider and explain how the law, societal expectations and desires and needs of individual employees impact the management of human resources, and be able to explain the importance of the cultural context for managing people. And so on we go. Managing human capital and facility management is crucial because people are your most valuable asset of any organization. AI can't do the work. Understanding how to effectively manage human capital can enhance the success of your facility and ensure smooth operations. So, what is human capital? It refers to the knowledge, skills, and capabilities of individuals that contribute economic value to your organization. In facility and event management, employees, staff, and even volunteers bring their expertise to maintain operations, improve customer performance, and help organizational goals. Now, the role of human resource management is to maximize human capital, and they help you in doing that. Your organization needs to rely on their human resource management. This process involves identifying talent, so finding the right people for the roles, cultivating their skills, so providing training and development opportunities, and aligning with objectives, so ensuring that employees contribute to the organization's strategic goals. Without an effective HRM system, even the best facilities may struggle with staffing issues, low morale, or inefficiencies. So a facilities manager's job extends beyond operations and logistics. A key part of the role, and I'm going to say the biggest role, is managing people effectively. I learned this really early on as I was going through. I had worked as a fitness specialist for a period of time, and I got into a management position, and I was managing, my peers that I'd worked with for a period of time. And I really learned that it's an art and a science to managing people effectively. So the essential functions of facility management cannot be successfully executed without a strong human resource management system. This means that your facility managers have to focus on hiring and retaining skilled personnel, implementing training programs, and ensuring employee engagement and motivation. Staffing is a critical function in facility and event management because having the right people in place ensures smooth operations and enhance overall efficiency. The staffing process consists of 3 primary phases: identifying and clarifying the staffing need. Before hiring, it's crucial to assess the needs of the organization. This phase involves determining job roles and responsibilities, identifying gaps in the current workforce, understanding the qualifications and skills required. For example, in a sports facility, it's expanding its operations. Management must evaluate whether they need additional maintenance staff, event coordinators, or customer service representatives for that. You also have to attract the right applicants. So once the staffing needs are clear, the next step is to attract potential candidates. This can be achieved through job postings on relevant platforms, networking within the industry, and leveraging employee referrals. A well-crafted job description plays a crucial role here. It should clearly define the expectations, responsibilities, and qualifications required for the role. And then you have to select the best candidate. The final phase is choosing the most suitable candidate from the applicant pool. You have to get a big enough applicant pool in order to do that. This typically involves screening resumes and applications, conducting interviews, and that's done in many different ways now, and assessments and checking their references and credentials. Facility managers must ensure that the selected candidate not only has the right skills, but also aligns with the organization's culture and their long-term goals. There are key employment laws that impact hiring, workplace conduct, and employee rights. Understanding these regulations is crucial for ensuring a fair and legally compliant work environment. And we'll talk about these in our upcoming slides. Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title VII, is landmark legislation that prohibits discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. It applies to hiring, promotions, and workplace treatment. Employers must provide equal opportunities and foster inclusive work environments to comply with this law. Title VII specifically makes it illegal for employers to refuse to hire, discharge, or discriminate against any individual regarding pay, terms, or conditions of employment due to race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. It also makes it illegal to segregate or classify employees in ways that deprive them of job opportunities or negatively affect their employment status. This law applies to businesses with 15 or more employees working at least 20 weeks a year in interstate commerce. It also includes state and local governments, employee agencies, and labor organizations. Sexual harassment is considered a form of sex discrimination under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It includes unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature. This behavior can constitute sexual harassment when submission to or rejection of the conduct explicitly or implicitly affects an individual's employment. It unreasonably interferes with an individual's work performance. It creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Additionally, harassment does not have to be of a sexual nature. It can also involve offensive remarks about a person's sex. There are two general forms of sexual harassment claims. Quid pro quo, when employment decisions such as promotions or job security are conditioned on submission to sexual advances, and a hostile work environment, when unwelcome conduct creates a workplace atmosphere that intimidates, offends, or humiliates an employee, making it difficult to perform their job. Employers must take proactive steps to prevent and address sexual harassment, such as implementing workplace policies, conducting training programs, and providing proper channels for reporting incidents. And you also have to consider email your communication channels with how, oftentimes we'll get funny emails that we tend to pass on. You just have to be very careful with that as well. Discrimination in hiring and employment occurs when an individual is treated unfairly due to their membership in a protected class. Now, in the case of disparate treatment, which also is called adverse treatment, occurs when individuals in similar situations are intentionally treated differently based on their membership in a protected class. This is a list of protected classes under federal law: race, color, religion, nationality, sex, disability, or other protected categories such as age, pregnancy, or genetic information. In the sports industry, employment decisions must comply with anti-discrimination laws, but there are specific defenses that organizations may use to justify hiring practices that might otherwise be considered discriminatory. These defenses, bona fide occupational qualification or BFOQ, business necessity, and job relatedness are particularly relevant in sport management when making personnel decisions. The bona fide occupational qualification or BFOQ defense applies when a particular characteristic such as gender or age is essential to performing a job within the sports industry. For example, A professional women's basketball league may argue that hiring only female athletes is a legitimate BFOQ because the league is specifically designed for female competition. Similarly, a sports organization might require a specific gender for locker room staff to maintain privacy standards. However, BFOQ is a narrow defense and cannot be used for characteristics like race, which are not considered reasonable job qualifications. Now, I will say that there's a lot of conversation right now on transgender and that sort of thing, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens with this, with these claims and where that goes from here. Now, the business necessity defense is used when an employment practice is required to achieve a legitimate operational goal within a sports organization. For instance, a stadium security team may need employees to meet certain physical standards to ensure they can handle emergency situations. The employer must demonstrate that the requirement is crucial for effective business operations and that no less discriminatory alternatives exist. For example, if you're in facility management, you need to be able to lift 25 pounds, something to that degree. Job relatedness. This defense applies when an employment requirement directly relates to job performance. And sport management requiring coaches to have previous playing or coaching experience at a certain level may be considered job related. Similarly, a strength and conditioning coach might be required to hold a specific certification in sports performance training, even if these criteria disproportionately exclude certain candidates. An employer can defend the practice by proving its necessity for the job. Each of these defenses have limitations, and sport organizations must provide strong justification for their employment practices. Courts closely scrutinize these claims to ensure they are not used as pretext for discrimination. The Pregnancy Discrimination Act of 1978 is an important piece of legislation aimed at ensuring that pregnant women are treated fairly in the workplace. Here are some key points about the Act. The scope of coverage. So the Act applies to all employers with 15 or more employees, which includes private employers, government agencies, labor unions, and employment agencies. And the prohibited discrimination. So the PDA prohibits employers from discriminating against female employees or job applicants based on pregnancy, childbirth, or related medical conditions. This means employers cannot treat women unfavorably due to pregnancy or childbirth related issues, whether in hiring, firing, pay, job assignments, promotions, or other employment practices. Now, pregnant employees must be treated the same as other employees with temporary disabilities. For example, if an employer provides light duty disability leave or other accommodations for employees with temporary medical conditions, the same must be provided for pregnant employees who are temporarily unable to work due to pregnancy-related conditions. While the PDA does not require employers to provide maternity leave, it mandates that if an employer offers disability leave or other medical benefits, the same benefits must be applied to employees disabled by pregnancy or related conditions. Now, under the PDA, employers are required to provide reasonable accommodations to pregnant employees if they offer accommodations to other temporary disabled employees. This, again, can include adjusting job duties, providing extra breaks, or modifying work schedules to accommodate pregnancy-related medical conditions, doctor's appointments, and things along that line. The Act reinforces that pregnancy and childbirth should not be treated as a reason for discrimination in the workplace, and employers must ensure equal treatment in terms of benefits, accommodations, and job opportunities for pregnant employees. The Age Discrimination in Employment Act of 1967, or ADEA, is a crucial law in the sport industry, ensuring that professionals age 40 and older are protected from workplace discrimination based on age. This law applies to various roles within sport management, including coaching, administration, and front office positions where age may sometimes be seen as a factor in hiring or career advancement. The ADEA guarantees that older employees in sports organizations, whether they are coaches, athletic directors, trainers, or executives, receive the same opportunities as younger professionals. This is especially important in leadership roles where experience and strategic knowledge are valuable assets. They were talking about this in the Today Show, and they were talking about Andy Reid. And of course, he's the coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. He will be 67 in March. Pete Carroll is one that he coaches as well. He's 73 years old. And so they have a lot of experience and knowledge about the game and how to be successful. Obviously, Andy Reid's very successful and has made a great name for himself, not just in football, but just all around with his humor and that sort of thing. So sports organizations cannot use age as a factor when making employment decisions related to hiring, such as denying a coaching job based on age or firing, forcing an older employee to retire, and promotion, so not favoring young candidates for executive roles, and layoff, disproportionately terminating older staff members. In the terms of compensation and benefits, not reducing salaries based on age, and job assignments, so limiting an older coach to non-travel roles, as well as training opportunities, excluding older employees from professional development. So sports organizations must ensure that age is not a factor in employment decisions unless legally justified. Now, employers covered under ADA applies to sports teams, leagues, athletic departments, and other organizations with 20 or more employees, including professional and collegiate programs, governing bodies, and sport marketing firms. Smaller organizations with fewer than 20 employees may not fall under ADA EA protections. Some exceptions: when age may be a factor, there are limited exceptions where age-based decisions might be justified under the bona fide occupational qualification or BFOQ rule. For instance, certain performance-based roles such as athletes or stunt professionals may lawfully require younger professionals or individuals due to the physical demands of the job. However, this defense is rarely applicable in managerial, coaching, or executive roles within sports organizations. Now, the ADA prohibits organizations from forcing early retirement or denying benefits based on age. This means an athletic director or senior executive cannot be required to step down due to age, nor can they lose access to pension or retirement benefits. If an employee in the sports industry believes they have experienced age discrimination, they can file a complaint with the EEOC, or Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And the EEOC investigates claims and can take legal action if necessary. The ADEA is essential in ensuring the experience and longevity in sport management are valued rather than penalized. It protects professionals from unfair treatment and promotes equal opportunities across all levels of sport organization. The Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, of 1990 is a critical civil rights law that ensures individuals with disabilities are not discriminated against in various aspects of life. The ADA plays a key role in promoting inclusivity in employment, facilities, and public accommodations within professional sports, college athletics, recreational sports, and event management. The ADA impacts multiple areas, one of those being employment. Sports organizations, including teams, leagues, and athletic departments, cannot discriminate against individuals with disabilities in hiring, promotions, compensation, and job assignments. For example, a qualified individual with a disability should have equal opportunity to work as a coach, athletic trainer, or administrator. You must first determine whether a job function is essential or non-essential when making employment decisions and providing accommodations for individuals with disabilities. Essential job functions are fundamental duties required for a position. These are tasks that are central to the job's purpose and cannot be easily reassigned to another employee. It requires specific skills or physical abilities that cannot be eliminated without changing the nature of the job. Now, the ADA also affects public services such as state-funded programs, public school athletic departments, and municipal recreation programs. They must ensure equal access to sports and fitness activities. They should also have programming for those with disabilities. And public accommodations. So stadiums, arenas, fitness centers, and other sport venues must be accessible, providing ramps, seating, and other accommodations for individuals with disabilities. Commercial facilities or private sports complexes and training centers must meet ADA accessibility requirements as well. And transportation, team and event transportation services must accommodate individuals with disabilities, ensuring access to games, practices, and events. And telecommunications, so sport organizations must provide accessible communication. Now, the definition of disability is an individual that is protected under the ADA if they have a physical or mental impairment that significantly limits major life activities. This also includes individuals with a history of a disability, such as an athlete recovering from a serious injury or illness. Now, there are employment provisions in sport organizations for those with 15 or more employees. They must provide reasonable accommodations for employees with disabilities unless it causes undue hardship. Examples include modifying workspaces, so providing accessible offices for sport managers with mobility impairments, flexible work schedules, so they're adjusting hours accordingly, and assistive technology. This would include speech-to-text software for employees with visual impairments and telecommuting options for administrative roles in sport management. So sports team leagues and facilities must ensure non-discriminatory hiring and creating an inclusive environment for individuals with disabilities in all levels of sport management. Employers and sport organizations, athletic departments, and sport facilities must make accommodations for non-essential functions when possible, such as modifying duties or reassigning them to other employees. ADA compliance requires employees must clearly define essential versus non-essential job functions and job description. And if an individual with a disability can perform essential job functions with reasonable accommodation, they cannot be denied employment. Modifications such as assistive technology or flexible work arrangements may be necessary to accommodate. And there are certain exemptions that do exist, such as if accommodating a disability causes significant undue hardship for a sports organization, or if the specific disability directs affect job performance, such as vision requirements for referees. The overarching goal of job analysis is indeed to understand an organization's personnel needs and determine the best fit for the staffing requirements by gaining insights into the duties and demands of various roles. A job analysis helps organizations make informed decisions about recruitment, selection, training, and development. To successfully determine the right person for the job, it's important to differentiate between knowledge, skill, and ability, which are essential attributes considered during a job analysis. Knowledge refers to a person's comprehension of an organized body of information, typically factual or procedural in nature. An example would be understanding the principles of accounting for a financial analyst, or knowing the laws and regulations. Positions in sport management can vary widely from managerial roles overseeing sports teams and facilities to administrative and marketing positions. The job description clearly defines what the job entails, the expectations for the role, and how it fits into the overall structure of the organization. So here's a breakdown of what a sport management job description typically includes. Its basic purpose is to explain what the job entails, and so it provides a detailed overview of the specific tasks, goals, and expectations for a position within the sport or recreation industry. It serves to outline the responsibilities associated with managing sport programs, teams, events, facilities, or other aspects of the industry. In an organizational context, it provides the position within the organizational structure. So just as in any organization, roles fit into an overall structure, and this job description specifies how the role will relate to other positions and who they report to, whether that's a director, manager, or team leader. And in terms of authority and responsibility. Some key components of job descriptions are the job title. The job title should be clear and reflect the nature of the role within the sport management field. Examples of job titles would include sports marketing manager, athletic director, facility manager. The title should be consistent with the level and function of the role. It should also designate reporting relationships, so who the person will report to, specifically the individual or team to whom the employee will report, such as the general manager or director of operations. This section helps establish that reporting structure within the organization. And supervision responsibilities. So some positions may involve supervising other staff or volunteers, such as coaches, facility staff, or event coordinators. What are the major duties and responsibilities? The core functions are the primary tasks and responsibilities that the employee will perform in their role. For example, managing daily operations of sport programs or athletic facilities, overseeing marketing and promotions of sporting events or teams, ensuring compliance with safety regulations for athletes and facilities. And the job requirements. What are the skills and qualifications? So it identifies the knowledge, skills, and abilities required to perform the job effectively. For example, strong and interpersonal skills to manage relationships with athletes, coaches, and sponsors. Understanding of sport management principles, event planning and marketing. Proficiency in relevant software, scheduling software, budgeting tools. And experience in education. So it specifies the level of education and experience needed. For example, a bachelor's degree in sport management or business administration or related field, and 3 to 5 years of experience in sport management or event planning. And certifications. So many times in university athletics or sports, the coaches are required to have a certain certification. And the job context. So the working conditions. It describes the work environment and what may include office work or traveling for sporting events, evening and weekend, or physical requirements like standing for long periods. And of course, relationship to other positions. So how the position fits into the larger team or organizational structure. For example, a sports marketing manager might collaborate with media relations manager or coaches and athletic trainers to promote a sports team, while an athletic director works closely with coaches, staff, and administrative teams to manage a school's athletic programs. And minor duties. It describes additional duties that may not be the main focus of the position, but are still important, such as assisting with community outreach programs or youth sports initiatives, and helping with sponsorship, acquisition, or donor management for a sports team or event. And these are examples of sport management job descriptions. You can see the first one here is a sports event coordinator, and they report to the event manager. Their position overview is the sports event coordinator is responsible for planning, organizing, and executing sports events and tournaments for the organization. Their role includes overseeing event logistics, coordinating with vendors, and managing staff and volunteers, and ensuring events are conducted smoothly. Their major duties are to plan and organize sports events from inception to completion and coordinate logistics, including venue selection, equipment, and vendor management, oversee event registration and ensure participant satisfaction, manage a team of volunteers and temporary staff during the events, and promote events through social media and local marketing channels. The requirements are a bachelor's degree in sport management or related field, and at least 2 years of experience in event planning or sports management, strong organizational skills and attention to detail, and ability to work under pressure and manage multiple tasks simultaneously. The working conditions, it's full-time with occasional evening and weekend work. And then you can see all that is required for an athletic director at a university and the requirements for that. Attracting potential applicants is a crucial step in ensuring that an organization can find the right candidate for the job. The goal is to ensure that there is a sufficient and qualified pool of applicants so the organization can choose the best fit. Here are some various methods to attract potential candidates. and formal personal contact. So word of mouth, leveraging those personal networks can be an effective way to attract candidates, especially those with specific skills or experience. Current employees, professional contacts, or industry colleagues can refer candidates who might be a good fit. Employee referrals, encouraging existing staff to refer candidates, can often result in a strong pool of candidates since they understand the facility's culture and needs. Formal personal contacts, so industry networking events, attending or hosting networking events with the sport or industry allows potential applicants to meet with decision makers, showcasing their skills and learning more about the organization, as well as professional associations. So again, those formal networks such as sport management groups or professional organizations can expose candidates who are well versed in the field. Direct outreach, reaching out to potential candidates directly through professional social platforms like LinkedIn, email, or phone calls can be a proactive method for attracting qualified individuals. And career fairs, open days, and leaflet drops, as well as notice boards. The career fairs and open days, these events offer an opportunity to meet and engage with potential applicants face to face, providing information about the company and its culture and job openings. TAMUC hosts multiple career fairs every semester. If you're interested, you should contact Career Services and get on that job board. Just be prepared for possible interviews on the spot. So you've got to come dressed and prepared for that. Leaflet drops are distributing job vacancy leaflets in the community. Notice boards and advertising it in newspapers or in specialty publications like magazines or journals through your professional organization is really a good way to do that. Using online platforms such as Indeed, LinkedIn, or other niche job boards like Teamwork Online or sportsjobs.com can widen the pool of applicants significantly. The NCAA has a platform as well. These platforms allow for greater visibility and can help employers filter through resumes more efficiently. And social media advertising, again, Facebook. I know the university has begun utilizing Facebook more, as well as LinkedIn. It helps increase exposure to a wider and often younger audience that frequently engages in those platforms. Your hashtags and sponsored posts can target specific demographics. And then external assistance, so job centers, local or government-sponsored job centers, kind of depends upon what the position is for that. And then, career services, your university or college career services is really important with linking up employers with graduates or those who are getting ready to graduate in specific fields. And employment agencies can also be great as well. Targeted recruitment with diversity initiatives. So consider promoting jobs through organizations or communities focused on diversity and inclusion. And my favorite, internship and volunteer programs. So internships help attract entry-level candidates, build a relationship with potential future hires, and allow for evaluation before making a full-time offer. Again, probably one of my favorite ways. Selecting the right candidate in any organization is crucial for building a successful team, department, and organization. The selection process ensures that individuals hired for those coaching positions, administration, operations, or marketing roles align with the organization's goals and contribute to its success. Key steps in candidate selection are eliminating unqualified applicants. And so reviewing applications and resumes. Oftentimes you've got you upload your resume to their website and the website goes through, it will cull out people that don't have the qualifications. So for coaching positions, ensuring applicants have required certifications and relevant playing and coaching experiences. Athletic directors or sport administrators verifying their education and sport management and business administration or whatever field, and experience managing teams or events. And of course, the basic requirements, confirming they meet legal or institutional requirements. For example, NCAA compliance for college athletics, and ensuring candidates possess essential technical skills as well. So budgeting knowledge for a general manager role or sponsorship experience for a marketing director, and identifying the best candidates. So evaluation criteria. Your coaches should have game strategy knowledge and leadership skills and the ability to develop athletes, while your athletic trainers have expertise in injury prevention and rehabilitation techniques and emergency response. Now, ranking candidates uses a scoring system to compare applicants based on their qualifications, experience, and fit for the role, prioritizing individuals who align with the team organization's values and culture, and background checks, verify past employment, certification, and compliance with league rules, and check for any ethical concerns or past infractions in coaching, recruiting, or administration. And then interviewing candidates. So structured interviews, you ask consistent role-specific questions to maintain fairness. Example, for a head coach, how do you develop a long-term recruitment strategy? Or for a sports marketing manager, can you describe a successful fan engagement campaign you've led? And then behavioral interviews. So they evaluate your responses based on real-world challenges that you've had. So tell us about a time you handled a high-pressure game day situation. And panel interviews, you're getting more and more of these where it's not just one person that you're interviewing with, but a few, 3 to 5. And so you involve key stakeholders such as team owners, athletic directors, and senior coaches for a well-rounded assessment. And then final evaluation is assessing their interview performance, considering both their technical expertise and interpersonal skills, how well they communicate with athletes, and how an administrator handles public relations, and then reference checks. Contacting previous teams, athletic departments, and sponsors for insights into their work ethic, leadership, and integrity. And then selecting the individual who best fits the team's competitive goals, culture, and long-term strategy. So by applying a structured strategic hiring process, sport organizations ensure they bring in top-tier talent, capable of leading teams, engaging fans, and managing operations efficiently. In any industry, hiring practices must align with federal and state employment laws to avoid discrimination and ensure fair hiring processes. Whether hiring coaches, athletic directors, or administrative staff, sport organizations must steer clear of illegal inquiries that could lead to discrimination lawsuits. So in the case of you, there are some permissible questions that you can ask, like that's in this first situation. May I ask your current legal name as well as whether the applicant has ever worked under a different name, but you cannot ask an applicant about their maiden name or whether the applicant has changed his or her name. And in the situation of marital or family status, you can inquire whether an applicant can work the hours required for the position, but you cannot ask about a spouse and or children. If it comes up, then that kind of opens things up. But until then, you cannot ask that question. If you're concerned about age, whether a person is of the legal age to perform the work in question, you can ask. So they have to be 21 years of age to serve alcohol. But asking an applicant's age, birthday, or how long they plan to work before retiring is something that is illegal. And then national origin, whether a candidate may be legally able to work in the country with or without sponsorship, is something that you can ask. But specific inquiries about their national origin, citizenship, or race are not. And then for the disabilities, whether a candidate is able to perform the essential functions of the job, and you've got those outlined in the job description. You cannot ask whether a candidate has a disability and any specific information related to the disability. Again, if they bring it up, then it kind of opens the window, but until then, your hands are pretty well tied. Understanding worker classifications ensures compliance with labor laws, proper compensation structures, and efficient workforce planning. Whether managing professional athletes under contract, hiring part-time staff for event management, or overseeing hourly stadium workers, sports organizations must classify their workforce correctly to avoid legal issues and maintain operational efficiency. So at-will employees, there are many entry-level and administrative roles in sport organizations, such as ticket sales representatives or customer service staff or marketing coordinators that are typically at will. They can be terminated or leave their jobs at any time, barring any illegal reasons. Now, contract employees are your coaches, your professional athletes, and executives that often work under contracts that define their terms of employment, compensation, and performance expectation. These contracts may include clauses related to performance incentives, sponsorship obligations, and termination conditions. Your exempt employees are those high-level sports executives, athletic directors, and coaches that are typically salaried and exempt from overtime pay. They work long hours, including nights and weekends, without additional overtime compensation, whereas non-exempt employees are more of your stadium operations staff, your event coordinators, and facility management workers who are paid hourly and entitled to overtime pay for working extra hours during sporting events or game days. You also have salary versus hourly employees. Your salaried employees are your general managers, your team executives, and corporate staff that are on a fixed salary regardless of the hours worked. So their roles involve long-term strategic planning rather than the hourly work. Your hourly employees are, again, game day workers, security personnel, and concession stand staff that are paid on an hourly basis. They may work variable shifts depending on the sports season and event schedules. Part-time employees, your sport organizations rely on part-time employees for those game day operations, your ushers, ticket scanners, and merchandise sellers at stadiums, particularly during the season of their respective sports. Some assistant coaching positions at lower levels, especially youth and high school sports, may also be part-time roles. Volunteers play a crucial role in community and amateur sports. Your youth leagues, charity sports events, and marathons often depend on volunteers for roles such as scorekeeping, coaching, and event coordination. However, volunteers cannot perform the same tasks as paid employees, ensuring compliance with labor laws. Human resource management in sport organizations involves overseeing staff, ensuring compliance with labor laws, and fostering productive work environment. Key elements include recruitment and hiring, legal compliance, and HR's relationship to facility management. So they play a crucial role in staffing and managing sport facilities, ensuring operational efficiency and the impact of laws, societal expectations, and employee needs, and the legal regulations so that you have compliance with wage laws, your FLSA, your workplace discrimination protection, and occupational safety. That's essential in sport organizations. So in conclusion, your HRM in sport management ensures that team venues and events function smoothly by balancing organizational goals, legal compliance, and employee well-being. And that is all that I have for you today. In part 2, we'll be talking more about managing employee performance and development. I look forward to talking with you again. Have a great day.